Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. It is Friday, June 20th. We're cruising along to July. Hope you guys had a good week. Hope you had a good week of training. Hope you had a good week of nutrition. We are here to get things done. I'm here to answer your questions. This is the longest running podcast, live podcast in the history of the lifting world. That's my claim, but I believe it to be reasonably accurate. I've been doing this forever. Hope you guys had a great week. I'm on a pretty good roll with training, pretty good roll with diet. Really happy with how things are going. I'm not quite getting in my training volume, not as much volume as I'd like to, but I'm still getting in the consistency. Yesterday, I did some back work, some V-bar pull downs. I did some dumbbell rows. I've been doing T-bar rows. I've been doing things like that, jammer arm rows on my rack. So that's my story. What's your story? What program are you guys running? Before we dive into things, just a reminder, if your comment doesn't go through, try shortening it. Sometimes longer comments don't go through on the old YouTube-age. And sometimes if you use a word that YouTube doesn't like, it will filter your comments. So it's not me throttling you. It's not me restricting you. The only time I'm going to do that is if you post anything ridiculous, or make a really bad attempt at trolling. We don't have time for your troll nonsense. So post up your questions. I'll stay as long as you guys have questions. As long as you guys have questions. Just a reminder before we get started, please head over to Super Living Today. Check out the coaching tab. I'd love to work with you. Coaching is what I do for a living. I'm not a check-in once a week coach via email. I'm with my guys every single day, for better or for worse. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. But I like to stay connected with my clients. For me, I like to work with people in the long run. I like to make sure they're on track. I find that if you just check in once a week and give somebody a workout, you're not actually coaching them. You're just giving them a to-do list and hoping they stay on track. And I find that to be bullshit. That's not anything I personally want to do. So with my coaching, you also get 1 to 2 form checks a day, every single day, 7 days a week. My clients are allowed 1 to 2 videos a day, form checks, so we can get a lot done. We're going to look at every lift from top to bottom, lat pull downs to curls to deadlifts. I don't say this lightly. Form is something that I feel myself to be an expert in, not the world's greatest expert, but I see a ton of form videos every single week, and I'm pretty comfortable with form, so I'd like to help you. So please check out the coaching tab. Also, one more commercial. If you go over to my website and search custom, I have a custom workout design service for only $39. It's my most popular service outside of coaching. Basically, you sign up, you pay for it. I send you a list of questions. I'm going to build you a custom workout based on your exercise preferences, your split preferences, et cetera, et cetera. So this isn't any cookie cutter nonsense. It's built directly for you. And follow me over on the Ben the Barman Instagram thing, where the social media thing is right there. All right, let's get into things. I'm going to skip ahead. What am I doing? I didn't kind of remove the thing, and now I got to go down to the thing. I just want to say hello to Marc. Conjugate Cartel. Marc has been on this channel before. I appreciate you tuning in. Please go over to his YouTube channel. I don't recommend a lot of people on YouTube because I don't recommend a lot of people on YouTube. I don't have time to watch it. Marc is somebody you should pay attention to, so please check him out. Let's get rolling. We have a Purple Monster. I've been doing coffee a lot lately, but Friday, I like to do the old splurge-a-rooski and have a Purple Monster for. Let's get into things. Hey, big hairy ugly dude. What do you get from barbell back squat that you don't get from Smith squat? First off, I'm going to say I don't I don't want to overcomplicate this, okay? Every lift is going to provide a unique degree of stimulus, okay? So I am not one that's going to say A over B or B over A. I'm going to be one that says do A and B. When you're trying to figure out barbell back squats or Smith squats, which should you do? If you're not sure, do both. Okay, each exercise that has a decent progression opportunity is going to provide you a unique stimulus, and there can be value in both. So if you're not sure, do both. Barbell back squat can be hard to learn. I know that that's not something a lot of people in the fitness sphere, in the fitness world, like to hear, but it is absolutely true. It is a very difficult lift to learn and master. And, if you are, I love the squat. I love the barbell lifts. If you love the barbell lifts, just make sure you take time and work on it. Don't rush it. The Smith squat is just a different type of lift. There's more stability. You can hit the quads in a different way. For some people, it can be more quad focused. For some people, less. When I'm comparing two compound lifts, I don't like to go into the realm where we're like, which one is better or which one should I do or what are the benefits? Any compound lift has its own inherent amount of benefits. And if any of you are curious, you should probably just do both. The one thing about the back squat I will say is that if you do it, you should probably do it every week. I find that if I get disconnected with form, if I get disconnected with the lift in general, the barbell back squat, I feel like my connective tissue can decondition a little bit. I feel like mentally I can decondition a little bit. So I'll say if you're going to do the back squat, you probably should do it every week. Smith squat, you could alternate every other week with like a belt squat or a leg press or a hack squat or even lunges or something like that. So just keep that in mind when you're programming. Massive Iron World, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Rico, good afternoon. What's new in your world? Anything big, new coming up? Our workout tracker is looking really, really good, and it's almost done. I know it's been a long, long time. You guys are probably sick of hearing about it, but I use it every single day. And I'm working on videos for the workout tracker right now. And then we're adding social. So this is the workout tracker. Enter. Okay, a little sneak peek. And you can welcome back Stephen Shaw. That would be me. And you have progress. You can check out your progress. You can check out your next workout. You can add things like dailies. So my next workout, I can go in. I can check out my workout history. The microphone here is getting in the way. I gotta pull that back. You can check out your workout history, do a quick workout. You can check out your workouts by date on the calendar. What did I do yesterday? This is what, view finished workout. This is what I did yesterday. It's looking really, really good. So I'm super happy with that. That is the big thing coming. Other than that, just doing the stuff I do. Ernie, how's it going, Ernie? Thanks for tuning in. Good to have you here. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for tuning in. I thought that said TMI, Team Massive. Too much information. Is a wide and close grip Smith press along with an incline press, decent variation throughout the week. I have one of those elbow padded pec decks and I don't like it at all. A close grip Smith is going to be more triceps centric. A wide or a normal bench is a good choice. An incline press is a good choice. I would encourage you, if you can, to work in a dumbbell bench. I don't think you have enough chest variation in the mix. So I would encourage you to maybe work in at least another lift during the course of a week. And consider that close grip more of a unicorn as something that's going to really focus on your triceps as well as your chest. But we probably want another Probably want another exercise in, dumbbell, bench, something like that. Is it normal to feel the front? Yes, absolutely. To feel the delts more. Very normal. This is something I've talked about many times over the years. When you are just starting out building strength, you're going to notice that your front delts are taking a pounding. They're going to get up to speed pretty quickly, but you're going to notice you're going to get a lot of soreness. That doesn't mean your chest isn't working. That doesn't mean your triceps isn't working, depending on the lift. Here we're talking about the Smith JM press, but you can notice that on a close grip bench. You can notice it on a bench. You can notice it on a dumbbell bench. You're going to notice that when you are getting into pressing, your front delts are lagging and they're going to give you a lot of soreness. That doesn't mean the other muscles aren't working. It's absolutely the contrary. They are working. Don't worry about it. When you're bringing a JM press down, you just want to make sure your elbows don't sink below your shoulders. So when you're doing a JM press, you kind of have a moderate grip. You're not going to have a wide grip. You're going to have a moderate grip, and you want to kind of fold the elbows, okay? That's a JM press. If you're keeping your elbows high and doing this or doing this, your elbows are much higher than your shoulders. That's more of a skull crusher, and this can be a little bit nuanced. If you have this type of grip and your elbows are dipping below your shoulders while you're bringing the bar towards your chin or your neck area, that's more of a close grip. The elbows are dipping below the shoulders. When you fold on a JM press, your elbows are going to stay a little bit higher than your shoulders, and that's more of a JM press. So just focus on form. Don't worry if one muscle group gets inordinately sore, that you're not expecting it to get sore compared to the areas you're trying to target. That's okay. We got to take the shotgun approach. We have to have a bunch of lifts that target each area, and everything will take care of itself. Strength builds strength. You're going to build plenty of strength and muscle. So just stay on track. Is it worth counting upper back or lat volume? No, just there's no sense getting into the weeds. I mean, I have a peripheral idea of what I'm doing, but sometimes we can get so deep into the weeds that we feel like back exercises or rows don't hit the lats, or lat work doesn't hit the upper back. They're compound movements, so they're going to hit different areas to varying degrees. Just try to have a reasonable selection. I try to get in at least one lat exercise per week. Somebody might say, well, I like to get in more. That's fine. There aren't as many quality lat exercises or lat focused exercises as there are quality upper back or mid back focused exercises. You have the barbell row, the dumbbell row, the pendlay row, the T-bar row, the chest supported row, the seated cable row, the machine row, all that kind of stuff. For the lats, depending on your equipment, you're going to have pull-ups and lat pull-downs, maybe a dumbbell pullover, maybe if you have a machine high to low row. So generally, it's okay to have 1 or 2 lat exercises every rotation, 1 to 2 weeks. But don't overthink it. You want some big, beefy rowing exercises into the mix no matter what. Do you have any volume recommendations for calves? This is going to sound a little bit facetious or dismissive, but the biggest volume recommendation is simply to do them and do them every week, and to do them with a progressive overload and hard training in mind. The biggest issue that people stray when it comes to calves is that they don't train them like they should. They don't train them consistently. They don't train them with an eye on hard training. They don't train them with progressive overload. They're just kind of like an afterthought. I want to see you train your calves like you train your triceps, like you train your chest. I want to see you bring your big, juicy chesticles or your big, juicy ovaries into the gym and train them like you mean it. Not some half-ass poo-poo monkey bullshit, where you're just practicing fuck around itis and you're doing them for the sake of knocking them off a checklist. Sorry. Do them like you mean it. Anything you do in the gym, do it like you mean it. Put some focus into it. Put some purpose behind it. You might not have as much energy to, train your calves after you're done doing whatever, but give it everything you can and try to progress. Do you guys see this? I don't see many people on social media, lifters on social media, that talk about calf PRs. Man, I hit a new seated calf PR. When is the last time you saw somebody get on Instagram or YouTube and they're using so much weight in such a focused manner on like the seated calf raise or the standing calf raise that your brain is like, WTF, what am I looking at? We get that every day from the deadlift. We get that every day from the bench. We get that every day from the squat. When is the last time you have seen that on calves? I want you to be that person. All right. Let me get a drink here. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, Big Hairy Ugly Team Massive. Where can I find your dumbbell exercises warm-up protocol? I don't have one specifically. I probably talked about it on video many times. It really depends on the weight. Like if I'm going to do 150-pound dumbbell bench sets, I'm going to do probably 40 just to grease the groove. I'm going to probably do 70s or 80s for 6 just to kind of make sure everything's feeling okay. And then I'll probably do 100s or 120s for 3 reps just to get that load with the heavy weight. And then I'll attack the big weight. I mean, depending on where the exercise is in the order, you might need 1 warm-up set. You might need 2. But I like to do at least 1 warm-up set, not for high volume, for moderate volume, just to feel out that exercise. If you're doing like dumbbell bench after bench press or dumbbell seated overhead after, pin press or military press, you don't need as many warm-up sets, but you still need some feeler work. So just to make sure everything in that movement pattern is feeling okay. Even though they're very similar, like a barbell bench and a dumbbell bench and a barbell overhead and a dumbbell overhead, there's still different lifts. There's more instability on the dumbbells. I like to do some warm-ups to make sure everything is feeling oakley dokley. Big Joe from Canada. How's it going, Joe? Good to see you. Max D here from Team Massive. Great second family. Thank you. I encourage anybody that is not on the Discord group to get your booty on the dance floor. Check out the link in the last 2 videos this week to Discord. We would love to have you join us. I have a question. When would you say someone should or could cut down the lean levels either 10% or lower? Whenever they want to. Do I think you should do this every cut? Probably not, unless you're pretty lean to begin with. I mean, it would be, it really depends. If someone say gets to 8 or 10%, and then they bulk up to 20, over a long period of time, they could do a longer cut. We just want to maximize the bulking process over the course of a year and stay in a bulk as much as possible. So there's no answer I can give you. It would be arbitrary. Really, the key here is we want to maximize the lean bulking process. And if we're doing so and not gaining more than like a kilo a month or 2.5 pounds a month, if we're maximizing the bulking process, you can cut as long as you want. You can cut deeper to 9% one time or 12% or one time or whatever, because all it does is set you up for a longer bulk. The only thing you don't want to do is sloppy bulking, because that just sets you up for way too much in the way of prolonged cuts each year, if that makes sense. Richard, happy Friday. I'm a fan of the rep goal system. And if any of you don't know what it is, head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. Check out my book, Massive Iron. I believe it was released maybe 11 years ago. and it introduces you to the rep goal system. Plenty of videos here for free on the rep goal system. Just go to the main page of YouTube, search rep goal or rep goal system. On my book, superlivingtoday.com, you can get the PDF or the original Massive Iron book. You should have it on your shelf. It is an essential. My mom said so. But applying it to all exercises causes me, that's normal. I mean, you can't, I wouldn't say it's normal. It's not abnormal. When you have a protocol like the rep goal system or any progression approach, you can start out using it on every exercise, but you might find that the progression approach doesn't fit all exercises, and you have to go over to the mirror and stare in the mirror and tell yourself, that's okay. That's perfectly okay. This is what we refer to on the Massive Iron channel and the Massive Iron world as evolving programming based on needs. If you start a program and it has the same progression approach for every exercise, it is okay to change that progression approach for any exercise that you don't enjoy it on, as long as you have a progression approach. So just keep that in mind. Do you think the rep goal system is more appropriate? No, it's individual. You can use it on any lift. You can adjust it to adapt to that lift or to fit that lift better. Any progression approach generally works with any exercise as long as you enjoy it. I'm interested in your dumbbell rowing style. Could you tell me how to do it in detail? So I do rows where I'm driving the dumbbell from off the floor. Okay. Let me see if I can upload a video while I am babbling here. So just give me a second. I don't know if I can find a video. I'm looking on my computer. Just give me 1 second. Don't go anywhere. All files. I got so many files on my download drive. It would probably literally take forever. We'll just do a search on row, and if I can't find it, all right, we'll just let it go. So I do my dumbbell rows off the ground. Some people don't understand this. It allows me to brace better. It allows me to focus my power better. It's a little bit easier on the lower back. The pendley row and the barbell row and the dumbbell row can be very hard on the lower back. So starting off the ground can allow you to take some of the stress temporarily off the lower back and allow you to brace better in between reps. I put one hand on a bench and I put my opposite leg back. That's how I like to do it. So kind of a tripod position. This is the arm I'm rowing with. I'd say I'm rowing with my right arm. Left arm is going to be up on the bench. My right leg is going to be back. And I try to have my hips a little bit below my shoulders. And then from there, I just naturally drive back. I think about driving my elbow and my shoulder back at the same time. Elbow and shoulder back. I think of that on every single rep. I did them last night. I was doing some dumbbell rows yesterday, and I can really feel the lat and upper back work. There are some people that think when I do heavy dumbbell rows of like 200 or 220 for 25 reps, that they're sloppy, that I can't feel the back, that they're only mid-back. I can feel the lats on every single regular dumbbell row that I do. It's just by focusing on driving the elbows and the shoulders back, I feel the lats in the back working, not just the mid-back. So that's how I do it. My dogs are going crazy up there. Excuse me. Shelly Turner, good morning, Team Massive. Good to have you here. When bulking, how much weight are you willing to put on in a 6-month period? Check out the main page of my YouTube channel and search bulking. Check out my book, Massive Bulking. Go over to my website, and search bulking. I'm not saying you have to buy something. I'm just saying there is a good resource It is a good resource. You can find all the information you want on it here for free as well. Lots of good information on this channel. Generally, the red line is 2 pounds per month. In general, I have clients aim for about 2.2 pounds or a kilo to 2.5 pounds per month. And anything more than 3 pounds, you're probably getting a little bit sloppy. If you're really good at cutting and you want to do an aggressive bulk to kind of build up your bench press over a 5 to 6 month period, then you could get slightly more aggressive. One sec. All right. JR, good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. All right, we're about 30 minutes in. Keep your questions coming. I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions. I have a little bit of sinus issues, so excuse me. Austin, if I'm doing a 2 or 3 month wave on a PR week, do I use top sets and back off sets or straight sets? I don't know what you mean, to be honest with you. I don't know. Oh, you're waving up to a PR. You can do anything you want. It doesn't matter as long as you have a progression approach. It's really comes down to the structure of the program. I mean, that's something, I mean this, politely and respectfully, but that's something you should think about before you start the phase. How am I going to ramp up? What am I going to use? What's my training approach? What are my back down sets? If you're in the weeds, right now, and it doesn't matter, you just do whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's safe. Just make sure you're enjoying it and you're good to go. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman and send me a question. I'd be glad to help. Deadlift training, is it fine? Yes, use them every session. Don't use them every other session. If you want to do the hook grip, go ahead. But man, use straps. Fend off elbow tendonitis. Absolutely. I don't know your goals. I don't know why you're working on hook grip. That's perfectly fine. I have nothing against it, but absolutely, any grip support you use will help you fend off elbow tendonitis. So that's always going to be a positive. Big Michael from Germany. Steve, I wonder if, when, where you use sets of 20 plus in your lifting career. Very rarely. Cheers from the wild capital of Germania. I didn't really use, I've used sets like that over the years. I do rest pause. I don't know what the heck that was. The smoke alarm just tweaked or got angry at me. So I apologize. I've done rest pause work on like side laterals where we've done like 30s or 40s or stuff like that. So I've done some of that in rest pause work. Probably leg presses more than anything. Not a lot, but I've done leg presses. Bench, I've done some 20 work. Obviously, I have the 5, 10, 10, 20. It's really exercise specific. Some exercises, I just don't like to go above certain rep ranges. Why? Who knows? Like pendlay rows, I would rather do multiple 6 rep sets than to do a lot of 10 rep sets. Why? I don't know. They just irritate me. Curls, once I get to 10 reps, I just don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy the crawl to 10 reps. I probably should stick to 8 reps on curls, but some people might like 20 reps. It's really up to you. It's really exercise dependent. As long as you feel like you can keep going on a set, right? And you're thinking more about the feel of the muscle that you're working or the feel of the exercise than you are trying to make it to the reps, right? If I am thinking more about, oh my God, I'm at 13, I got to get to 14. If I'm thinking more mentally about the reps than I am about the feel or the focus of the exercise, then I probably am in the weeds with reps. Does that make sense? Big Gary Thomas, bald and beautiful. I have a question. If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? It absolutely does, because there is always somebody around to hear it. That is one of the fatal flaws in this philosophical discussion. There's a cricket, there's a bug, your aunt's out in the wood, smoking a secret joint, whatever she's doing out there on a hike, right? So there's always somebody to hear it. Sound. JR, how's it going? No problem. Big Tony, how's it going, Tony? Good to see you. Big Johnny Miles, best 5 pre-workout ingredients. I'm not a supplement guy, to be honest with you. I'll tell you, beta-alanine is not one of them. It is called window dressing, meaning they put it in to give you the tingle wingles, but it does absolutely nothing for you pre-workout. Beta-alanine is going to be best when it is used 2 or 3 times a day, and you can use it over a long period of time. I mean, we obviously have caffeine and creatine, but you have to watch your creatine levels on a pre-workout, because you still need to get in your grams per day for creatine to be effective over the long run. Using it pre-workout is not the effective way to use it. The effective way to use it is to get in your certain number of grams each day. I'm not a pre-workout guy. I don't use pre-workouts anymore. I'm not against them. Do your research, but even though I was in the supplement industry, I'm a lifter, and I don't really care much about supplements. I'm not going to be one of these reactionary guys that says all supplements are useless. That's just dumb. I mean, that's just some reactionary idiot comment. And if you need to quote me, you can quote me. If somebody's like, "All supplements are dumb," they're an idiot. Black and white, answers on anything really in life come from idiots. It's just true. It is. I mean, life is rarely black or white. If you want to do some research, go over to examine.com. You can find a lot of great research. You can use ChatGPT as a tool. You could go over to Examine and say, do some research on effective pre-workout ingredients. Plug those ingredients that you are enamored with into like ChatGPT, and have it come up with some suggestions. And just watch your caffeine level, because some of these can be very, very aggressive to the point where they can get you sick. Big Tony, happy Freitag, BHUD, and T Massive. What are your exercise recommendations for building a robust lower back? The first thing we need to factor in is what big posterior lifts are we doing right now? Squats, deads, RDLs, good mornings, whatever you're doing. Those are going to be very impactful on the lower back. They're going to put a lot of stress on the lower back. And these are lifts that we need to give time for our lower back to get up to speed. They're lifts that the lower back is generally one of the weaker, if not the weakest muscle group in that chain of squats or deadlifts. So our lower back is going to take a beating. What you usually see is that lifters will feel a lot of stress on squats, deads, RDLs, and then they'll think, I need to add in lower back work to bring up my lower back strength. Generally, what you need to do, more than adding in more fuel onto the already burning fire, is to pull back a little bit on your posterior work and allow that lower back some time to strengthen. You also need to make sure you work on form. Adding more logs onto the fire, I'm going to do more lower back work when your lower back is already torched from squats or deads or RDLs, is usually going to be counterproductive. So my best advice is, if you're using posterior lifts, to probably, if you're feeling a lot of lower back stress, reduce them a little bit. Be patient with your lower back. Give it some time to get up to speed. And if you're not using these, then you could work in some, back extensions, etc. If you want to try working in some back extensions or old school bodybuilding good mornings, not powerlifting good mornings, just don't overdo them. Just don't do them with heavy weight. Do them to kind of build up core strength or core base. What do you think of Kay Cutler? It's been a while since I looked at Jay's style of training. I've met Jay. I've worked with him when I was at Muscle and Strength. I don't know. What I find most interesting, I don't really care how Kay Cutler trained. I'm just being facetious. Jay Cutler. I don't really care how Jay Cutler trained during his peak. You know, I care how Jay Cutler trained his first 5-8 years of lifting when he was building his base. And I'm not educated enough on that to speak, but that's really, really what we want to look at. Let's pull up the old Chat GPT. All right. And let's ask it a question. Let's see if we can find out some information. Share screen. All right. Any info on how Jay Cutler trained his first 5 years of lifting before he got on mega roids and won his pro card. Just a little funny way of putting it. Don't get angry with me. Let's see. Yes, there's some information. High volume, high heavy training, 4 to 5 exercises, 3 to 4 sets, pretty conventional. A little bit on the higher volume, standard hypertrophy ranges, pretty reasonable. Well, he didn't ego lift. He was controlled. I mean, he used progressive overload. No one's going to build muscle without using progressive overload. How he did it, I'm not really sure. Nutrition, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my goodness. He has a body part split. That didn't work at all. Imagine if he would have used full body, he would have been 10 times bigger. He said his legs were massive early on. And I mean, he'll probably say he wasn't strong, but you look at him and he had pretty good strength levels. So pretty reasonable, maybe a little bit on the higher volume. And Big Marc Estrabio, appreciate the signal boost. What's the next project you got cooking? Just the workout tracker. I want to get that done and dusted and get it over with more than anything right now. Nolan. I featured Nolan today on the Instagram. Nolan's deadlift is looking great, and I appreciate Nolan allowing me to share his deadlift. Massive lifting story of the week. Who should we talk about today? What should we talk about today? I always have some good stories that I can't really share. I can't really share without threat of getting sued. But Jay Cutler, since we're talking about Jay, I've gotten to meet a lot of people. I have one silly photo I took with Jay when he came in when I was working at Muscle and Strength. I was doing content for Muscle and Strength. And, you know, when I was doing content, we'd, you know, just get a lot of, you know, people that would come in, you name it, YouTubers and celebrities and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. And I got to meet a lot of these people. It was a real blessing. I'm going to share a picture. This is pretty much right after I lost my 100 pounds. So I was still building back my base after losing 100 pounds. I had a little poo-poo belly. You know, I was a little bit juicy yet. I wasn't at the end of the road. I look a little terrified at the time, probably because I'm getting my picture taken with Jay. Jay is a really good guy. I don't say that for everybody in this industry because there's a lot of guys that aren't good guys. There's a lot of people that just aren't good people in this industry, and I'd be lying to you if I said there were. There are people I really, really don't care for, but I was a professional and would work with them. I've had celebrities and people send dick pics to employees, hit on people I was with, you know, guys that would friend you when they're in person, like, oh, hey, you're doing content for so and so. I'm going to friend, what's your social media account? And then a week after they leave, they unfollow you on social media because they got to play the follow and follow, or, the follow and follow influencer game. I've had people do that, uh, people, people that just treat you good to your face and then treat you like shit away from you. For example, like the Hodge twins, they still follow me to this day. They're stand-up people. They've, gotten away from lifting. They've gotten into politics and whatever, and politics isn't my thing. But even if they would unfollow me tomorrow, they followed me for nearly 10 years now. I appreciate that. It speaks a lot about their character. Some of these guys just want to follow, unfollow. I got YouTubers that I've done videos with, collabs with, that have unfollowed me, and I'm not going to name names. And sometimes on Team Massive, I'll drop a name or tell a story. It turns my stomach that people have to be like that. I'm not going to be a kiss and tell guy to the public, but some of these people you're watching, they'll do whatever they can to build up their channel, and when they're done using you, they'll set you aside. They're just assholes. They're just content whores. They're just money whores. They're not interested in you. They're interested in money. And that's the bottom line. I've done podcasts with guys like, all right, I'm just going to say, guys like Chris Gethin. You might know him, you might not know him. He would come in. We did podcasts together. We spent time together. And after he left, he unfollowed me. I'm not bitter. But what I'm saying is that's kind of what you get in this industry. Curiously enough, when I won Coach of the Year, I think he won like Gym of the Year, Studio of the Year with the same organization. So, we're on the same plane as far as professional accomplishments. But I'm not digging into Chris Gethin. I don't know why he unfollowed me. I'm not going to do a boo-boo baby thing. And it is what it is. Everybody has their reasons. And Chris was a pretty decent guy, so I don't want to. I'm not going to slam him at all, but I'm just saying there are predators out there, a lot of big egos that will treat you like a king. And then the second you're away from them, they'll stop following you. Guys like Nick Wright, I spent time with him. We went to Chipotle together. We went to a boxing match together. We spent time together. He was a good guy. I like Nick Wright. Pete Rubish, I've known Pete forever. Just a good guy. I like these guys because they're real people. And in this industry of real people, and you have ass cookies that are only interested in growing their brand, growing their business, growing their money, or using you as a stepping stone. Jay was always a good person. I respect Jay. He's one of the decent people. I mean, if I had to ever affiliate with a supplement company, his would definitely be in the top 5. I'm not one to do that. But whenever I think about that question, his probably be in the top 2, just because I like Jay and I trust Jay. Guys like Phil Heath still follow me. You don't have to follow me, but I appreciate that. Sean Clarita, me and Sean Clarita from the Olympic go back a long way. I'm just a schmuck, right? I'm just some weirdo on YouTube doing content. I happen to be doing, content development for websites. These guys don't have to follow me, but anyway, long story short, I like Jay. Jay is one of the good guys in this industry, and I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. All right, Jason. A couple of bagels before? No, not at all. As long as you're getting in your daily calories and daily protein, there's nothing wrong with that at all. If I drink too much after 7 o'clock, I'm going to be peeing a lot as well. Just the way it is for some people. Overall calories, overall protein, that's what matters. When you get it in, how you get it in, it's completely up to you. With carbs, though, you might want to get in a little bit of water just when you down those Bagels. So carbs have a tendency to pull water and cause some, encourage glycogen storage and all that kind of stuff. So just get in some water. Not a lot. How do you ensure you do the back squat every week if you're on a flexible schedule? It depends on the schedule. Like if somebody's doing an upper posterior and they have a flex schedule, going out 8 days, like not, squatting every 8 day is okay. Maybe 9 is pushing it. If you're starting to get out to 9 and 10 routinely, then we probably have to look at the program and change things up. What I would do in that case is have like a flagpole day, like a full body, like upper posterior, and then a full body. So you could have 2 upper posterior, upper A, posterior A, upper B, posterior B, and a full body where you squat. And you could flagpole that full body, say on a Monday or Friday, and then rotate the upper posteriors on every other day. That's one example of what you could do if you're not able to squat reasonably with a reasonable frequency. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Big J Nelson. When doing the skull destroyer, do you typically bring the easy bar to your forehead or above the head? Very good question. When you're doing a skull crusher, you want a little bit of elbow rotation. Trying to keep the wrists above the elbow is a little bit arbitrary. I just bonked the microphone. A little bit arbitrary. It can cause for some, it can cause stress onto the elbows. So bring it down. I like to bring it down to the top of the head, get a little bit of elbow rotation, get a little bit of stretch right in here, and then bring it up. And I like to bring the wrists over the elbows. I had my dogs out, so I got a bunch of dirt. It's my backyard. My little dog was crawling around. But you want to get it, I rotate it. You don't want to just do this because then you have a tendency to stress the elbows, and it's really unnatural. Just down, rotate a little bit. Wherever it comes, it comes. If you want to rotate back and really you feel you get a really good chest stretch at the top of your noodle, that's fine as well. Big Ryan, happy Friday. Good to have you, Ryan. Ryan's a client of mine. Jay's a client of mine. Jeff's a client of mine. I love you all. Thank you all for your support. Good morning, Team Massive, and happy Friday. All right. Thoughts on 3x5 deadlifts with the same weight every set. So the first 2 sets, yeah, that's fine. As long as you have a progression opportunity in the mix, that's absolutely fine. The belief that somehow over a 10-year period of time that you need to maximize every set, I'm just going to say it, it's bullshit. It's dumbing down the process. Any of these influencers or parrots or voices on social media that make you think you must do every set to failure, and that if it's not, it's a waste. They don't really understand the process. They don't understand the history of lifting. This is very unscientific. It's very naive. As long as you're maximizing at least 1 set safely and you have a progression opportunity over a period of 10 years, you're going to be fine, because you're going to bring your deadlift up from a weak position to a strong position. And that is as big of a driver as hard training. I'm not telling you to get sloppy, but if you're training hard, and just because you do straight sets doesn't mean you're not focused on the first 2 sets. On lat pull downs, for example, yesterday, I do like 50, then 70, then 90, then 110, then 145 for sets of 10. And I am focused on every damn rep. I'm focused on getting everything I can out of every rep, every degree of every drop of mechanical tension. And then I'll do like 2 or 3 top sets at 10. So just always remember that we want to focus on hard training, but we also, the counterpart, the partner of hard training is progressive overload. You don't have to train every set to the limit. Sets that aren't to the limit are still providing some productive volume. So if you do 3x10 on bench and only the last set is pushed for maximum safe quality reps, if you start with 3x10 at 100, okay, 100 by 10 reps is 1,000 pounds. 3 sets is 3,000 pounds, okay? Are you following me? And then you go to 3 sets of 10 at 200 pounds. That's 6,000 pounds. You're increasing your overall volume. The way you want to think of hypertrophy is we don't create black and white rules. We want to encourage hard training. We want to encourage progressive overload. But another variable for you to think of is overall stress or pressure being placed on the body. Imagine there's a giant hand in the sky, right? And it's pressing down on this can, and it starts very mildly. That's your bench press at 3 sets of 10 by 100. The overall volume, right? All of a sudden, it's pressing over 5 years. It's doing 3 sets of 10 with 200. The pressure is much greater. The external force or pressure being applied on the body from increasing the weight through the vehicle of volume. Does that make sense? That will require progressive overload, and done in the lane of hard training, that is another quality variable in the hypertrophy process. We tend to get very reactionary and call anything with junk volume without keeping an eye on the long-term process. If you start with the dumbbell row and you're doing 3 sets of 10 with 30 pounds and you only maximize the last set, but you get them up to 3 sets of 10 with 150s, the overall volume or pressure, even though you're only doing 1 set to the limit, you're still increasing the overall volume and pressure on the body. And that is a stress, like it's pressing down on you from above. And the body is going to respond to that external stimulus, that external stress. How does it respond? By pushing back, by growing, by expanding, by building muscle. And that is one aspect of hypertrophy that is in the mix, despite what the dumb influencers like to pretend that it's not, that every set has to be to failure and that something like this doesn't matter. There's no junk volume when you are progressing on a lift. What makes a good upper-lower program? What makes a good program in general is a good weekly volume distributed to the point where you enjoy it. Doesn't matter if it's upper, lower, upper posterior, torso, limbs, full body, body part split. We always need to look at a weekly volume and distribute it into something that we enjoy. Do I like this program? And am I recovering enough before my next workout? We also need to ask, is there any interference? Am I trying to do biceps on Tuesday and then back on Wednesday? That's interference. You don't want to go in your back work with sore biceps. You could work your back on Tuesday and then your biceps on Wednesday, and you have a little bit of bicep stimulation from your back work, and then the next day you do biceps. That's perfectly okay. But you don't want interference or stress on the major compound movements. All right, let me get a drink. Would you recommend, it depends on would you recommend ditching exercises that are not progressing? It depends. Is it really not progressing, or are you impatient? I don't know. Justin's saying, we're just speaking in general terms here, so I'm not speaking at Justin, and we're not speaking about any specific lifts. In my experience, there's a lot of people that will not understand the process, and they'll want to ditch a lift that's not giving them a rep every week or every other week. So it really depends on the lift. You're going to reach a point as you progress where some lifts just aren't going to progress anymore. Right after, if you train hard for 5 years, it doesn't matter what biceps exercises you're using. You're going to be pretty much capped out. You're going to be pretty much damn strong on them, and reps are going to be tediously slow. I haven't added hardly anything to any of my curls in 25 years. Somebody might say you're an idiot and you don't train hard. Well, if you're training hard, I would say the opposite is true. You're going to cap out some lifts pretty quickly to the point where you simply, can't add a lot of weight. And you have to ask yourself the question, do I want to keep it in, or do I want to rotate out of boredom, or do I want to try something different? So there's two scenarios. Is it an exercise that capped out and is going to be pretty much the same over the next 10 years, like side lateral raises or dumbbell curls? At that point, you might be, you might just be in hold mode. Or you might move to rest pause. But you're always going to cap out or come to a soft ceiling. And by a soft ceiling, I mean you probably don't have a lot of progression left in the tank. And given the long-term view, we have to think about safe training, not beating our body up. If you're at 55-pound dumbbell curls and you're just going to go hard and kill yourself to get to 70-pound dumbbell curls and get to that really elite level, and your arms are already 17 inches at 55s, you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. So there are a lot of variables at play, and I hope that helps some. Around 13% body fat, bulk for 1 week, then say, all right, let's try this again. Around 13% body fat, bulk for 1 week, then think like if I start at 13, I don't have too much room, want to stay lean. When going deeper than 13, you're not going to lose muscle. That's a myth. You guys got to set that out of your head. I say that every week. It's bullshit. You're not going to lose muscle on a mini cut. It's almost impossible to lose muscle mass once you have it. Guys that cut for a show, they're going to be glycogen depleted. They're going to have some lean body mass loss, maybe a minor amount on their organs, etc. But they're getting to an extremely radical low level of body fat. You're not losing muscle on a cut. To play the devil's advocate, even if you would lose muscle on a cut, it's not gone forever. It would come back immediately because of muscle memory. But you're not losing muscle mass on a cut. This is nonsense. There's only one process. You want to stay in a lean bulk most of the year, and then you want to cut to get yourself back down to a reasonable level so you can lean bulk again. That's the only process. I don't know you, and I'm saying this respectfully, but I don't care how you feel. There is a process, and you either follow the process or you're going to stay small and weak. Attaching yourself to numbers, 12%, 11%, 13%. If you want to attach yourself to a look, that's fine. That's your right. But I'm going to tell you there's still a process when building muscle, and you still have to follow the process. So you have to wake up and you have to say, okay, there's a process involved in building muscle efficiently and effectively, but I want to stay at a certain body fat percentage. What do I want more? I will say, you don't get, when bulking properly, you're not going to gain a lot of fat. If you do a 10-pound bulk over 4 to 5 months, you're only going to gain a couple pounds of fat. You're going to gain some water, you're going to maybe gain 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds of fat, whatever, a pound, 2, 3 of muscle. You're not gaining that much fat. So, if that amount of fat on a lean bulk is bothering you, I would say that some kind of body dysmorphia or unrealistic expectations, you need to get over that. I don't know you, Murad. I'm saying in general, if that's you, you need to get over it. A lean bulk is very calculated. It's not aggressive. It's not going to get you fat. And if you want muscle, you're going to have to do the process. If you don't do the process, you're not going to get the muscle. It's as simple as that. Austin, hell yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Austin, for tuning in. Steve, on average, what's a good carb load for you heading into an evening workout? As long as you don't feel flat and you don't, feel depleted. I don't think of it in terms of carb loading. I just think of it in terms of getting in your carbs and getting in a reasonable degree of carbs in the meal prior to your workout. You don't have to go crazy. I would do some hash browns and some eggs about 2.5 hours before my workout. And it was really only about 400 calories. So whatever works for you, as long as you feel fresh during your workout. How do you know you're ready to attack another set? There's no such thing as wasting time. There's no such thing as resting too long. There's no such thing. If you're going to wait a week in between sets, yeah, there theoretically could be, but there's no downside. Resting too long is only to the point where you would have to warm up again. In powerlifting on the platform, sometimes it's 10, 15 minutes in between efforts, but you're still warmed up. Your central nervous system is still good to go. There's no such thing. So just set it outside of your mind. It's non-existent. When you feel physically and mentally ready to go again, forget the concept of wasting time and resting too long. If anything, it's just going to allow you to focus on the next set. Would you ever consider putting out program templates for each split with a list of exercises and rep ranges you can do in each slot? Basic, you mean like what to put in each slot? Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's hopefully going to be on my workout tracker. But yeah, I would definitely consider it if I have time. Like a block of what exercises to put in each slot. It's definitely something I thought about. So just remind me, guys. How was my week? Anything interesting? Just a fast week. I'll tell you that much. It's a fast week. Just good training. I've been hungry this week. I don't know why. Usually I don't have that problem on a cut, but I've been crazy hungry this week. Big Nathan W. Good morning, Steve and Team Math. I picked up a lift. Good morning, Nathan. Good to have you here. Big Tony. Once your tracker app is stable, are there any long-term plans to integrate it into your coaching? We have a lot of long-term plans. It's like a flywheel. It's going to move slow at first, but we want to be able to have coaches sell programs. We want to turn it into a coaching app. We got big plans, so absolutely. But by that point, if it really gets, I'm going to be honest, if it really gets to that point, and it's, we're talking years and years down the road. I might not be doing the volume of clients I have. I don't want anybody to panic. That's a fairy tale many years down the road. That'd be a good problem to have. Cam, big, hairy, ugly dude. How would you program a legs back day for someone who has access to dumbbells up to 75? Man, that's tough. You got to get a gym membership or you got to get more equipment. I don't know your situation. I'm not trying to spend money and I'm not trying to pound on you, but that's a tough road, my friend. So legs, you're going to have to do like a single leg wall RDL. Okay. Google single leg wall RDL. That would be a good choice for the hammy whammies. A reverse lunge, a forward lunge, a Bulgarian split squat. Those would all be reasonable choices for the legs as a starting point. You could try old school sissy squats. Back's going to give you a little bit more fits, but for lats, we're going to try the dumbbell pullover. Lat focused dumbbell row, and you're getting into hard territory when it comes to horizontal rows because you should really get past 75 pretty quickly. You're getting in a world of hurt, but those would be two exercises you could start with. Paul, thank you for the donation to the protein fund. I appreciate it. Big Paul from Team Massive. Big Samuel Jones. Coming off TRT in hopes of getting my wife pregnant. One thing I advise is a lot of practice. It's like target practice. You need to tell your wife you need a lot of practice because your aim is very inefficient and you're a little bit a little bit shy, a little bit nervous about your skills. You need a lot of practice. All silly things aside, how much strength and size could I be losing? If you're just doing TRT, I wouldn't imagine it would be really anything dramatic. And for TRT, I mean, you just train the same. There's no difference in training. For normal TRT, I've seen some of my clients get on TRT and add, a couple, 2-3 pounds of muscle. I don't think it would be much at all. When you lost 100, how did you keep your sleep stable? I've never been one that has had sleep issues. I think it's beneficial not to go to bed hungry. A lot of times when I do have sleep issues on a cut, it tends to be, for me personally, on nights when I'm going to bed hungry. So I would just try to make sure you have that in place, and hopefully that'll help some. Big Gavin. Hello, Massive Iron. I was wondering if you think the workout program I'm doing right now is good. I have push-pull legs 3 days a week, and here's my routine. I'm going to get onto that because that's a couple down, so I will get to it. Vic Burger Lutzy Boy. Curious if these live U-Team streams will ever make it on. I had done that for a while. I was putting it on all the podcast stuff. I don't have time. If anybody wants to do it, they're more than welcome to do it for me. I don't have time. And here's the thing with a small business. With a small business, there's like 20 things you could do micropayments on. Canva for graphics and video editing. And I have my coaching software that I use. I have my website that I use. I have Calendly to book appointments. There's so many things that are pulling my money away from my business. And I have to make some hard decisions. I'm not a big mega influencer driving around Lamborghinis like Greg Doucette or Dr. Mike. So I have a very successful coaching business. I was the coach of the year 2 years ago, and last year I was in the top 5. I have a very successful coaching business. I'm very thankful, but it really comes down to how many micropayments do I want to be pounded with every month? Does that make sense? I mean, we all kind of go through that. Micropayments are everywhere right now, and it's just more of a budgetary thing and fiscal responsibility. I used Podbean, I think, and it's just another $15 a month. I'd love to have it everywhere, but just kind of is what it is. All right, Gavin, we're getting back to Gavin's split here. Day 1, incline presses, dumbbell flies, dumbbell laterals, reverse. Okay, so we have one big hitter and a bunch of stuff, not being disrespectful. Day 2, pull downs, barbell rows. Okay, we got a couple decent hitters. Not bad. You just don't have enough intensity. Like, there's not enough stress on the chest. You could use another back exercise. You could use another quad exercise. If you're doing, did you say we're doing 3 on, 3 off? What are you doing? I'm doing a push-pull legs. For 3 days a week, that's not enough quality volume. No. Dumbbell flies and laterals are okay. Reverse pec deck is okay, but you really only have one big hitter for chest. You have absolutely nothing impactful for your shoulders. Back work's okay. You have as much curl work as you have back work, which is a red flag. Leg work is okay. You have no quality shoulder work. You don't have enough pressing work, and you need some variety. Overall, your weekly volume is generally weak. Day 1, also press downs. Okay, that's reasonable. What's a weird split man, I've seen so many splits. I used to document, I used to do a lot of bodybuilder profiles, natural pros, and fitness and figure competitors. And and body transformation stories. I used to do a lot of that stuff. And you would see a lot of weird, wild, wacky splits. I can't even begin to explain. But overall, it comes back to the weekly volume of being solid and the progressive overload being solid. Not many people talk about the strength of weight training on your mind. It's something we've talked about a lot over the years. The mental strength that you get from lifting helps you in pretty much everything, in your life. It helps you, the discipline that is involved with getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you might not make a step forward, but maybe once every, month or 3 weeks. That requires, a lot of discipline, and that really carries over to everything, everything else in your life. So, you can't state the importance or impact of the mental strength aspect of lifting. It just doesn't, it's not just going to give you, physical strength. It's going to give you a lot of mental strength as well. All right. I'm just preparing for a question that's coming up at the end. Is it weird for a guy to have no desire to train chest? I don't know. I mean, there's muscle groups I don't like to train. What I'll say is there's a process, and if you want a balanced physique, you don't want to encourage injuries, you should be doing a reasonable degree of chest work each week. Second time this week, I've seen this mixed grip. No, they're doing that because their grip is weak and they're trying to hold on to the bar. They need to be using straps or Versa grips. You don't want to be twisted up or turned around. If you're just doing this, you can, if you put your hands out like this and do the hokey pokey and turn yourself about, I can immediately feel it on my mid back. I can feel my left lat getting all squifty, screwy. Can you feel that? Do this. I can feel the lat on that side doing a little bit of weirdness. No, absolutely not. You talk too much sense. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thoughts on keeping the bulk going? Keep it going as long as you don't get too far away from, as long as you don't outkick your coverage, as long as you can cut back safely to where you want to be, you're fine. As long as the bulk rate is reasonable. I mean, for example, for leaner look whole year, what would you say best body fat set points? Okay, that's a fair question. It's going to depend on the individual. 18%, you're not going to have any real moob fat, love handle fat, lower belly fat, or lower back fat. So 18% is probably, if you want to say, if you don't want to get to those levels, you could stay at a cap of 18. Staying at a cap of 15 to 16 is probably more reasonable. I had to search this. Ian, thoughts on the Keenan flap? I've never heard this before. I have the video up for the old Keenan flap, and I'm going to see if I can upload this thing. Let's see if it's possible to upload the old video file. Okay. I don't want to anger YouTube, so I'm just going to watch the video. Keenan flap, 50% more activation. I'll do anything to grow my lats. Oh my goodness. Now, it might give you more activation, but it has no progressive overload opportunity. If you want to do it as a last exercise, like on a finisher, you can, but it'd be a lot. There's so many good exercises. I got another video here that I'm going to show. I don't know if that guy's doing it right because I have no experience with whatever flapping bird stuff we're doing here. I'm not trying to be dismissive. Share screen. And you guys can tell me. Let me just mute this. Let's do the flapperooski.
This exercise, which people are calling the Keenan flap, is
flap
apparently
like
the latest and greatest,
flap,
most
flap,
awesome
flap
lat
like
exercise
bird.
of all time, according to TikTok. So is it actually a really good lat exercise, or is it just the newest fad? So during this exercise, what we're basically doing is we're just trying to isolate motion of the upper arm. We're not really trying to allow the shoulder girdle to move.
Or worked in every other. But whatever you do, don't get caught on the exercise hype train. It's a last tier exercise. That doesn't mean it doesn't have value, but just don't think it's going to be some magical game changer. Naturally, getting a great physique is rare and takes hard work, but why does it feel like everybody I see, because you're watching too much social media, to be honest. It's not reality. In the world of coaching, it's a completely different story. So you're just watching a selective group of outliers or freaks or people that have been doing it for a very long period of time. If a program has 3 chest, 3 shoulder, 4 back compounds, do you think it can cause? No. Why would it cause an imbalance? No. The front delts are going to get hit hard with everything. It's not going to cause an imbalance. If you have good back work, you're going to be hitting your rear delts as well as your front delts, so you're fine. Will in-kind press be a good way to increase strength builds strength? So there's a lot of debate over this type of stuff. Will overheads help with inclines? Will triceps work help with overheads? On and on we go down the rabbit trail of doom, the vortex of hell. Strength builds strength. So we can't say specifically what one exercise is going to contribute to another exercise, but we do know that strength builds strength. So we want to take a shotgun approach. We want to have a reasonable degree of exercises, and we want to attack the body from a myriad of different ways, and strength will always build strength. Bluebird, how should I warm up to a max effort pull-up and then do back down? Well, are you doing a single? Because I wouldn't advise that. That's just, except for the one-off, that's a waste of time. I need to know the weight. You don't want to fatigue the body with reps, but you want to wake up the central nervous system. So let's say you're doing 50 pounds for max reps on pull-ups. I'd probably do body weight by 8, maybe 25 by 4 to 5, and then let it rip on the 50s. Roughly something like that. Before you lost all the weight, when you were still very muscular, do you remember what was that caused you to realize I had to do this? Yeah, I got videos on this. It is something I've talked about extensively. I got a week before my biggest powerlifting meet of my life. I was on track to get at least a 1,900-pound raw total. And I came down with fatty liver disease so bad that I had Charlie horses from head to toe, literally. I took my daughters to a daddy-daughter day. We were at a Pizza Hut. And all of a sudden the cramps hit and I couldn't move. I literally couldn't move. Every small movement would cause Charlie horses from head to toe. I managed to get to the car and went to the movie. I couldn't get out of the chair at the movie theater. The cramping was literally from head to toe, brutal. I thought I was going to have to call 911. My friend said, man, you got fatty liver disease very bad. And if all your muscles are cramping, the heart is going to cramp. Soon, you're going to have a heart attack. You need to get your shit together. I bonked out at my meet. I couldn't even do a 600-pound squat, something I had done many times before. And I immediately just started eating animal and plant-based and getting on the treadmill. And I ate pretty much animal and plant-based for 2 years. Austin. I like how certain influencers went from wide grip doesn't work lats to actually the bar isn't even wide enough for me. Around and round we go, the circle jerk of doom. Everybody chasing their tail, trying to get you connected so they can get some views. Use a good selection of exercises that work for you with a decent progressive overload opportunity. Train hard, train long, be patient, take care of your body, stay in the gym. If the program you're doing is working, absolutely no change is needed. Evolve your training based on needs than rather doing reactionary changes. Ian, anything you've changed your mind on recently? No, not really. The biggest thing I'm changing my mind on is the value of 90% of influencer fitness. It's just a shit pile. It really is. And I think there are a lot of really, really good channels out there, but a lot of the really big channels are the worst pool of big channels we've had in a long, long time. Just a rough sea for people to navigate. Is breakdancing the coolest and least useful skill? I have no idea. I mean, there's a lot of cool and least useful skills. If you enjoy it, nothing is useless. Any split volume recommendation? I can and like to train 6 days a week. Push-pull arms, legs is a good, because you can do your arms, legs, and you're pretty fresh once you hit that push again. That's one choice. 6 days a week, you can't really do an upper posterior. You can't really do a torso limbs because you need some rest days. So you could do like a drunk Russian. Big Joshua, fatty liver disease progresses to cirrhosis and liver failure. Yeah, I don't even think I would have made it that far. Any clients on, I'm not a big fan of TNF. I put them on my solid training. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I coach what I coach. I don't coach anybody else's style, and I don't really particularly care for, TNF. Any appearance on Dave Tate? Probably not. I'd love to, but it's been almost 2 years since I've been invited. Last call for questions, guys. Last question. I'll hop off if we don't get any more questions. Last call right now. Thoughts on doing weightlifting and cardio in the same session, as long as you don't do cardio before weight training. Weight training is always a priority. You always want to go into it as fresh as possible. And then with whatever energy or mojo you have left, then you can do your cardio. It's as simple as that. All right, guys, before we go, please head over to Instagram. Follow me at Ben the Barman. I'd appreciate the follow. And I would love to help you. Coaching is what I do for a living. Head over to superlivingtoday.com. Check out the coaching tab. I have an apparel tab. I have a lot of great lifting shirts. Nobody buys them. You all suck. I'm telling your mom. But seriously, if you need some lifting apparel, check out the shirts. We have a lot of good stuff over there, and I don't really mark it up. I'm only making a couple bucks off each. I have books. I have training logs. I have flags. If you want to support a small influencer and get some cool stuff for your gym or cool workouts, the massive omnibus book, all kinds of stuff, please check out my website. All of a sudden, I got 7 things coming in. Thanks, Steve. Have an awesome weekend. Thank you, Joshua. When you can't add more weight or reps, how else would you progress? You just keep fighting. Progress is always going to slow down over time, and it's always going to slow. That doesn't mean you progress. You just stay in the ring and you keep fighting. You will eventually add more weight and reps. Thank you, Ian. Should I use the leg press upside down? Absolutely. Make sure you do it naked and get a video for your OnlyFans. Can't add weight either due to pain or fatigue. Then improve your work capacity. And if you're getting pain, like lifting pain, push. That's all you can do. Hard training is pushing back against the point where you don't want to push anymore. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.